last two sets. I have to say right now, Djokovic is playing like one of the best player in the world, only because of the fact, he's the highest ranked of all the guys who's doing well. Like if you look at the rankings from 1 to 10, of all those guys, he's playing the best. Wawrinka had a really good run, undefeated to start the year, winning Australia, but we'll have to see how long he lasts playing this well. And of course, you've got Ferrer. He's not made much of an impact this year. Neither is Berdych. Murray's been injured. Del Potro hasn't. And Federer's played very well. Semis Australia, finals down here, win in Dubai, beating Djokovic and also taking out Berdych. So he's had a very impressive start to the year. Heading back over for more or less. I'm on ESPN right now, just browsing through different stories to talk about. Right now, this is a poll on ESPN. Which of the four divisions is the most difficult? South with Florida, Kansas, Syracuse, UCLA. The West with Arizona, Wisconsin, Creighton, and San Diego State. The East featuring Virginia, Villanova, Ohio State, Michigan State. And the Midwest, Wichita State, Michigan, Duke, Louisville. I know the easiest answer would be the Midwest, but I'm actually going to say that the South is the toughest division because Florida is easily the best team. Actually, you know what? Take that comment back. I just completely misunderstood the question. Difficult regional in terms of how evenly matched the teams are. I think Midwest is a good choice because honestly, if Wichita State was put in a power conference, I don't know that they'd be 34 now. In fact, I don't even know if they'd have any fewer than 5 or 6 losses. Michigan reached the final of the Big Ten tournament, Duke reached the final of the ACC tournament, and Louisville winning their respective tournament. I mean, anything can happen. And I'd have to say, if you look at it that way, easily the toughest division would definitely be the Midwest division. Which team will win the South Regional? Florida, Kansas, Syracuse, UCLA, or another? Obviously, the state of Kansas says Kansas, but I'm going to definitely say Florida. Which team will win the West? Arizona, Wisconsin, Creighton, San Diego State, or another team? Easily Wisconsin. No, easily Arizona, my bad. Arizona is the best team right now. But again, Creighton or San Diego State could definitely throw a monkey wrench into things. Wisconsin, I don't know if they're deep enough. Which team will win the East? Virginia, Villanova, Ohio State, Michigan State, or another? 52% said Michigan State, and that kind of doesn't really surprise me because I think honestly Michigan State is the best team in that division, in that region. But again, Virginia just has been so good lately, and they won the ACC tournament and they beat Duke, which is really impressive because I don't know if Michigan State could beat Duke. So I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Michigan State right now. I think they're the best team in that conference. In that region, I should say. In the Midwest, you've got Wichita State, Michigan, Duke, Louisville, or another team. I'm going to go with Duke. I know Louisville could potentially sneak it out, but I'm going to go with Duke. Because of Jabari Parker, because of just how good Mike Krzyzewski is as a coach, and because of how deep that team is. I got to go with Duke. Which of these last 4 teams in deserved its spot? Iowa, NC State, Tennessee, or Xavier? NC State, absolutely. They went out in the semis of the ACC tournament to Duke, and they played a very good game. I mean, they barely lost that game. They only lost it by 8 points, and they were in that game from start to finish. So I have to give NC State a big amount of credit. Which of the first 4 teams out was the biggest snub? Southern Methodist is in the top 25, and they didn't get a chance to go to the tournament. What kind of bunk is that? I mean, Florida State's in a power conference. They weren't that good. Georgia wasn't that good. How is Green Bay as a college even contending to go to the tournament? And Southern Methodist is, obviously needs to be there because I mean, it's not like I'm a big fan of them or anything, but, if you're 25th in the nation, you got to be good enough to at least make the top 60. If you're making a tournament with the 68 best teams in the country, why isn't one of the top 25 teams in there? Why isn't an unranked team with a 500 or barely above record have a better chance of making it than you do? Just doesn't make any sense to me. Will I be calling in sick from work at this point during any year's tournament to watch this unfold? Well, for one, I probably won't even have a job again by the time this is over. And, 66% of the nation says no. I mean, I can't think of any reason to call off sick for work, or for in this case, for me to miss any of my classes, because none of the games are really going on during when I'm in class. So I don't have any late afternoon classes. Well, I got one that goes from 1:40 to 2:55 Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I kind of need to be at that one. It's part of my major, so I can't really miss that. How many NCAA tournament games are going to watch? As many as possible. Several, but won't go nuts. Not that many, or none. That's the second leading result, but for me, I'm going to watch many of the games, but I'm not going to overload it. I'm not going to watch every game or flip around. I mean, it'll give me something to watch when I come home from school and all that, but I'm not going to be into it like a lot of fans are. That's just not my thing, to watch every single game possible. What would be the first thing I bought if I won the $1 billion for picking a perfect bracket? Car, house, trip, another vehicle, or something else? Well, this is kind of a personal thing. I would use my money to be famous or whatnot, and I would just like to meet several celebrities that I just would love to have, like just to eat lunch with or something. Drew Brees would be one. Who else? If Johnny Unitas was still alive, he'd be one. Hines Ward was awesome. Jack Lambert, Joe Green, and probably like a more or less not really a mainstream one, but Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball. Yes, I just said that, and I'm not taking that back. Akira Toriyama created Dragon Ball, and I still watch DBZ, and I love it. So go ahead and judge me, but that's the best show I ever watched, and I'll continue to keep watching it. Many reincarnations. But if I had to pick like an actual material thing to spend money on, I have $1 billion, so at this point, there's literally nothing I can't do. I would love to, just for the hell of it, I would love to lift a Toyota Prius, just for fun, just to see what it'd be like. I'd be driving like 20 feet high off the road, and I'd be getting 35 miles a gallon, because the MPG's going to drop. I mean, just to screw with people. Come on. When you have that kind of money, I wouldn't go out buying anything bigger. You go out and have as much fun as you can. That's just me being nuts. But back to seriousness. Will the Knicks ever win a title with Phil Jackson as president? Yes, they will. Even if they lose Melo, if they keep Stoudemire, and with Phil's ability to put things together, they cut some players on this team, and they get some cap space. With Kevin Love, LeBron James supposed to be free agents, why not make a push for him? How many years will it take for him to win a title? I'd say 3 to 4 years they'll win a title if they keep some of these guys. All right, now, how will the Broncos offense fare next season? Because they just added Emmanuel Sanders to replace Eric Decker. Am I the only one here who thinks Emmanuel Sanders is almost as good as Eric Decker? Really? Eric Decker played with Peyton Manning and two guys in Welker and Thomas that took all the spotlight. And then you throw in Julius Thomas and you throw in, Peyton Manning. Of course Decker's going to get open. Then you go ahead and add then you go ahead and Pittsburgh. If you don't got Antonio Brown, you got Emmanuel Sanders. And if they double Brown, Sanders got to make some plays. I think if Sanders in a full-time offense with Peyton Manning, I think he'd do just as well. That's just my opinion. I have to say the Broncos offense will probably fare worse than last year. 606 points is a tall task. To top. Is Arian Foster done as an elite running back? No. He's got at least 3 more years left in him. He can receive out of the backfield. He can run the ball. The Texans have a good offensive line. Bill O'Brien will have that team back in relevance next year, and he will be another big part why. He's still a very good running back. Who have a better 2014, Djokovic or Nadal? Nadal started off the year injured. He's got the back problem. I don't know if the blister in his hand's even gone away. Probably has by now. Djokovic has had a better start to the year. I have to give the nod to Djokovic because even though we're entering the clay court season after Miami, where Nadal usually turns it on, Nadal's got points to defend in a final appearance in Monte Carlo, title in Rome, title in Madrid, winning the French Open. Novak takes a couple of those titles and steals the French Open from him. We're looking at a completely new ball game heading into Wimbledon. How long will it take Charlie Strong to lead Texas to a national title? He will not win one at Texas. No way. It's not as sexy of a place to play as it used to be. The hot team to play for now in Texas is Texas A&M. And look at the last years. It kind of proves why. What was the Capital One Cup Impact Performance of the Week? McDermott for Creighton, Smith for Louisville, Warren for NC State, or Kane for Iowa State. Russ Smith dropped 42 on Houston. End of discussion. You put up 40 in the college ranks. That's impressive. Do I agree with the Panthers' decision to cut Steve Smith? No, he can still contribute. But then again, yes, he's still a vocal part of that team. I answered that a little bit differently earlier, but the more I think about it, hit or miss depending on your opinion. What would be the best fit for Smith in 2014? He's already signed with the Ravens, but I have to say the Ravens over the Bucks. But I would have loved to have seen the Steelers pick him up. Oh. One final note I want to mention is that I may have mentioned this before, I can't remember, but Jonathan Martin getting traded to the 49ers is the best thing that could have happened to him. And I'll tell you why. Because he went through so much emotional abuse when he's playing for the Dolphins. And there are probably people out there that think, that maybe, how should I put this? That maybe that goes on in every other locker room, or that, maybe that it's possible that some other people in the league are subject to it and they can handle it better. I don't necessarily agree with Martin's handling the situation, but I do believe that in Miami, those are a bunch of assholes he was playing with. Richie Incognito's an asshole. Mike Pouncey wore a Free Hernandez hat in the face of all the evidence. He's an asshole. Marquise did it, but he apologized for doing it. At least. But the problem that I have is that I don't think every single black player who's struggling on a team goes to that kind of criticism from white players in that kind of locker room. I don't believe that at all. And I'll tell you why. Richie Incognito is an asshole. Picked on Jonathan Martin to make himself feel better. I feel bad because Martin is still the victim here. Being in San Francisco with a bunch of teammates that want to win as opposed to being a bunch of dicks. Guys like, Colin Kaepernick, who's not really accepted either because of his tattoos and because of his mixed origins. And that's something that bothers me because, so what if the guy's black and white? So what if he's got tattoos? He's a nice guy and a great player. Respect him and treat him as a normal human being. You got Bowman, Willis, leaders on this team. Frank Gore's a leader on this team. Jim Harbaugh, as much as his act is wearing thin, he's a leader. So that's pretty much my take on that. He'll be fine. He'll prosper. Be a great player. That's my show for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. James Wisniewski here, signing off for Real Steel Sports. Thank you for listening and have a great Monday, even though that is an oxymoron.